Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to project my sincere and utmost apologies to one Thomas Edward Brady Jr. and one Aaron Rodgers.
Yikes.
I poked the bear, and what you saw on Sunday was a result.
I feel like you just do that on purpose to the Bucks.
Of course I did it to the Bucks on purpose. Of course I did.
Aaron Rodgers, you were completely wrong, though. I mean, that just was a whiff.
Oh no,
We'll
that was a lighting of fire.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aaron listens to the show.
Of course.
And he heard all the positivity that I have from all week. And I didn't have a reason for why they would lose that game.
You're right. Well, you did. You did have a reason. You said that the two offensive linemen were out. That's what you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the reason.
But their offensive line is pretty decent, though. Like, it gets the job done. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is Overreaction Monday. If you haven't tell by the sound of our voices, I am the Professor John Guy, the King of RNG, Trollmaster, Data Analyzing Ninja, the conqueror of my own fate. The Terminator. No. Zeklina. Professor Omega. And the wise man for our reigning, defending, undisputed podcasting champion of the world, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the Sultan of Squat. Tsukuiwa no Tsuten in Japanese. The human highlight machine himself, Doc Elidor. Man, how you doing, man? It's Monday.
Yeah, I highlighted this morning.
Oh, he about to get a quick one, ladies and gentlemen. He about to get a quick one.
Come on. I'm doing pretty good, man. Can't complain. Great games, great storylines this weekend.
Absolutely. And of course, the sacrifices always has to be made as we have even more injuries after this weekend in the NFL, and it's getting ridiculous.
Injuries, coaching changes in the NCAA, stabbing in the back. Or maybe it's in the front, but let's get to that shortly there. I mean, we might as well just go right into this Rams versus Packers game where the Packers won 36-28. I kind of figured Aaron Rodgers, that toe wouldn't be a major issue.
No, it wasn't a major issue at all.
Yeah, they just had an opportunity to go ahead and kind of just close it out. But I mean, it was some big, turnovers. Which
there's a game that is literally about turnover. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that right after this. But I just felt like Matthew Stafford kind of reverted to the Lions. Matthew Stafford.
That's the third time you said that this year so far.
It just keeps happening. Like he'll have a great game, and then the next week it'll just be like, as Professor
but he still
Omega
had
would
a
say,
really good game though. He went 21 for 38, 302, 3 TDs, a pick, and 2 sacks that he gave that he gotten and he lost the fumble.
The drizzling.
I don't know if that's drizzling though. Compared to a lot of the other quarterbacks that played this week, I don't think that's the drizzling.
I mean, it's not Cam Newton drizzling, but for a team that's trying to get to the playoffs.
Who's supposed to be a super team, who had all these new pieces added and all this other stuff, I get it. But one thing that the people on Football Night in America said last night, and I completely agree, you can tell that they miss Robert Woods.
Oh, big time. Now, granted, Odell Beckham Jr. took a lot of the coverage. He took a lot of the attention. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't
No.
Robert Woods level. I can agree with that.
Well, that's
But let's
because
get.
he's not so integrated into the offense. But big shout outs to one AJ Dillon.
That sucker.
I mean, the rushing attack was pretty well balanced with the passing attack, if we're going to be honest about it.
I agree. I agree. But the Packers came away with the win. Aaron Rodgers was able to go ahead and, you know, sink it home pretty much.
Yep.
But let's go through some of the games really quickly here. We won't cover all of them, of course, but let's get over here. Bucks versus Colts go down to the fourth quarter, where there's almost literally a kick return at the end of the game. Which is,
Yep.
if I was at home, I probably would have been livid and calling them all kinds of trash and bums and all kinds of stuff.
He can't do that
But
today, folks.
I can't. We won 38-31 on a big time, hopefully a pre-playoff Lenny appearance. We'll see, 4 touchdowns. But the Bucks defense looked good. I didn't know if Devin White played or not, but he did. I know they were saying he had some quad soreness, but
Hmm.
the Colts are still a dangerous team at 6-6 in the AFC. So I would
Yep.
definitely continue to monitor that.
And of course, you
Um,
got to find out what's going to go on with Dean because he went out with a shoulder injury.
I feel like they're playing Buccaneer injury roulette with the cornerbacks. You go out with a shoulder injury, I'll go out with an elbow injury, I'll go out with a hamstring injury, and then you come back and then you get a hamstring injury, I'll go out with a shoulder injury. So it's just like over and over, but it's okay. Um,
Absolutely.
we we both got the Jets versus the Texans wrong. Tyrod did have a pretty solid game, but the Jets actually were able to get it done.
I actually had
But
this one being a tie, so I didn't
you
really have much
did.
of a horse in this race.
You did. I can't believe I didn't choose the Giants with the switch to Freddie Kitchens, but I just believed that the Eagles would pull this out, but they did not. 13-7,
No.
which isn't a great outcome, but it's good for the Giants, who
Yeah,
um,
they needed the confidence.
they really did. I chose the Panthers in this game. Who knew that Cam Newton would drop a dud? He was so hyped to be back home, and
Yeah,
he
I
just
think
got,
we both drank too much of that hype juice. And
yeah,
I should have just had us forewarned about that, but because normally I would do that.
of
I'm
course.
like, okay, that's a little too
Of
much hype.
course.
I'm gonna choose the opposite
Yeah,
team.
of course. Um, I believe we both picked the Patriots. I couldn't
Yes.
remember.
Yeah, yeah, we both
Um,
picked the Lale Lulelo.
but the Patriots have outscored Patriots have outscored opponents 135-33 over the last three
Last
home games.
Yep. And now they're at six
36-18.
games straight that they won as well, too. They're dangerous, folks.
Big time dangerous. And another dangerous team, the Cincinnati Bengals destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we both had the Steelers losing
Yep.
to the Bengals here. I don't know. A lot of people are calling for Big Ben's career, but I'm not
See, I
100%
feel
sure.
like they do that every single year for like the past 3 years. Like, and I don't know if those people are Yinzers or not. So
Right, right,
I will
right.
say I can't wait to hear what Urinating Tree has to say in his weekly recap because that was
It should be
terrible.
good.
Also,
Yeah,
shout
it
out to
should be
Chisel
good.
Adonis because he absolutely went off on the Steelers.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Then you got the Falcons beating the Jaguars. I think we expected that.
Hmm.
Um, the Chargers losing to the Broncos.
You know, the
Um,
Chargers, I mean, we talk how great Justin Herbert is, and he is great.
mhm, mhm.
We don't know if they're ready to take that leap.
No, I think they're in that. Like I said, they're in that Buffalo Bills loop where it might be another 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, but they just it's so crazy.
And the
But
Broncos is the definition of inconsistency. Can we both agree to that?
yeah, but at 6-5, yeah, the Broncos make the playoffs. They'll make it interesting, and obviously Teddy Bridgewater went down again.
Mhm.
Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back, but it's just it's so rough to watch sometimes. We had a showdown in Levi Stadium as the Vikings lose to the 49ers. The 49ers are another team that are inconsistent as well.
Yep.
But that's when the NFC West is going to NFC West, I guess.
This is true. Also, the Vikings lost Davin Cook as well too, which is a big loss for them.
Yes, big loss, huge loss. And finally, we had that crapshoot of a turnover fest in Baltimore. Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, turned the game off at halftime after what seemed like an endless run of turnovers.
5 turnovers in the first half.
And I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
You know, you know how we always say like in wrestling, like this is a car crash, but it's so interesting to watch that we kind of had to watch it. That was me last night, and I'm pretty sure that was most of America last night as well too. This game, Doc, did not show Lamar Jackson in the best light.
It stinks because last week you were saying how, good the offense looked, how better the offense looked.
And they did when it wasn't Lamar at under center.
Yeah, I agree.
I know it's
I
a
agree.
controversial take, folks, and I'm not trying to be like those other networks. But based on what I saw, based off that sample size, the offense looked better.
I agree. I can agree with that. I don't know. But what do you think about the Browns, though? They had the running backs. They just didn't look
They
good.
didn't use the running backs.
Ugh.
They had it, but they didn't use it.
That was so rough.
Like, what can you do there?
So rough.
Baker Mayfield with a bum non-throwing shoulder throwing 37 times, but both Hunt and Chubb only had combined 15 rushing attempts.
Mm.
I'm
And
sorry.
the game was close.
Yes, and that's the
So there's no
craziest. But the game
excuse.
was close.
Yeah, there's no excuse. That's what I'm saying. I think that they might be putting too much load on Baker's shoulder, and really he was
They're
running
trying
for
to
his life
make
out there.
Baker. They're trying to make Baker, turn the game into a shootout, but that's not their game, and they went completely away from it. Like,
Yeah,
yes, Baker has some incredible throws, but that doesn't justify what happened at
yeah.
all.
So the Ravens get the win 16-10, which is I turned it off. Like I said, it could have went anyway.
It
The second
literally
half
could have
could have
went
been
anyway. Like, we could have been talking
yeah.
about, oh my goodness, Baker, playing with the heart of a champion, all this
Hmm.
other jazz. Like, it's that easy for that outcome to completely flip. And the
But they also
NFC
look
North is going to NFC North. AFC
right.
North is going to AFC North.
AFC,
Sorry.
and they could have lost a lineman potentially for the year. They're
And
fearing that he might have torn
and
his patella.
I think he probably has
Mm.
torn that patella.
But lastly, we have the Monday night game as the Seahawks go to FedEx Field to play the football team. Johnny, who do you have?
It's going to be Seahawks.
I'm going to go on a limb and say the football team.
I can't get upset with that either. Like, I feel like with a lot of these games,
Um,
it really is either way. And a lot of these outcomes this weekend, especially on yesterday's games, it honestly could have went either way for a lot of these games.
I feel like the Heineken can
Except
move
for the
from,
Steelers game. Not the Steelers.
of course, the Heineken can move from the NFC South and he can take his talents to the NFC West and just continue his dominance. Um, until he gets back to the NFC East, then they'll lose again. But I think that they'll beat the Seahawks. It'll be close, but they'll win. But Johnny, we had some interesting NCAA football. First of all, before we get there, um, I'm so happy
Mm-hmm.
that I'm happy and I'm sad that the Rockets #1 won 2 games back to back. Right? They won 2 games
To
in a row.
back. That guy's a champion.
I'm sad that it took the threatening of firing the coach to get them to do so.
I can understand that. I can understand that.
Okay, I just want to make sure I point that out before we jump into this
Nope.
NCAA top 25 here, where we had some great games. Cincinnati has stamped their way into the playoffs, beating East Carolina 35-13. I'm so happy for them.
I am too.
They're
I'm
really
not
good.
happy with the AP poll gave them, but I feel like that's going to reflect what's going to happen on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll have to
when
wait
the
and see what
football when the
happens.
college football playoff ranking comes out too. But that's here and there. But we'll talk about that when that comes out on Wednesday.
Of course, number one, Georgia beat Georgia Tech 45-0, stamping their perfect season. And of course, we had a barn burner, two barn burners, really.
Yep.
We'll go
Technically, we had a
Alabama
few bar
first.
burners, honestly.
We did, but I was only following the top five. We had Alabama and Auburn, which I knew that rivalry would go into, that not for overtime. I would never been able to call that, but you always have to
But
worry
it was going
about
to be
Auburn.
close. It's always going to be
Yeah,
close because it's SEC, and of course this is what the committee is going to use. But the AP poll said, you know what? That's enough of that. Um, but honestly, I mean, Alabama just had too much in the chamber, and Auburn kind of fizzled out during that last OT.
but it kind of goes back to what Nick Saban said in his interview rant. Right, they're going to get the best of everybody,
Yep.
and they want to win, but they know they're going to get everybody's best. Kind of what I say about the Bucks. The Bucks, and you're going to get the other team's best when they're playing against the Bucks. But when you're Alabama, and you represent, I guess you would consider it to be perfection, quote
Yep.
unquote. Everybody has to
Championship
come.
pedigree.
Exactly. Everybody's going to give their best. But the real game that I watched
Hmm.
was Michigan
Yep.
versus Ohio State, in which the
OHIO.
B- OH bio.
Okay, that was good. I like that. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Ohio State, I don't know if they, hmm, it wasn't even showing up to play. It was like
Nope. It
they just
wasn't
got
the offense. I'll
outplayed.
tell you that right now.
Yeah, they just got outplayed. I often talk to my ladies about, matching physicality with the other team.
Hmm.
And Michigan just came out and punched Ohio State in the
In the
face
mouth.
at least
Yep.
at least four times.
Yep.
And it's funny because the announcers just kept saying, "Hey, oh, watch out! Ohio State can score really quickly." And it was like every time they said it, it was just like
I feel like
a
there's time they
balloon.
said it, Michigan ended up scoring just to spite them.
It's like a balloon was like being blown up, and it just like every every single time. But Michigan gets the win, 42-27,
Yep.
which could
Hassan
end Ohio State.
Haskins with an
Oh, he
insane
beast. Oh, he's a beast. That one,
169 rushing yard game. I mean, let's
the,
not glaze over that. Like, that's
the
freaking
one-handed
incredible.
catch. Yeah, the one-handed catch alone was enough for
It
me.
was it was good like. It was good
Yeah.
like.
But Michigan should be in the playoffs.
They're gonna
Ohio
be in
State
the
should
top
be out.
four.
Yeah,
A
Ohio
people
State
has
should
them
be
at number
out.
2 right now.
Michigan?
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's what I'm saying, but we'll talk about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, I don't like that. Give Cincinnati their credit, man. Move Cincinnati up to number two.
That's okay.
Uh,
We'll talk about that
yeah,
again.
we'll
We'll
talk
talk
about
about that
that.
on Wednesday. I had a
We'll
feeling
talk
you was
about it.
gonna have a reaction to that, so we'll
Come
talk
on.
about that on Wednesday.
But as I mentioned earlier, we had some coaching changes. Lincoln Riley is leaving OU. That's crazy. First of all, I just want to stop there.
That traitor. That
That's the
traitor.
word, right?
It was real to me, dang it.
Lincoln Riley is leaving Oklahoma to go to USC.
Which is
I'm not 100.
insane because everyone kept saying that he was going to the NFL.
I don't know where he.
Because people wanted him to go to the NFL. But the problem is he would have to go to a team, sort of
That's
like
bad.
the Jaguars, that was at the bottom of the league. He
Yeah,
wasn't going to come into a team that was, have an upward trajectory, kind of like what happened with Pete Carroll. Like he lucked himself into
right.
that Seahawks job.
But you think about it, Pete Carroll's first run wasn't good. That's why he went back to
Exactly.
college. So um, I could see certain players. I know Cliff Kingsbury was a name that people were throwing around that said that he
Yep.
would go back to college, but
I don't think he
see,
will.
it wouldn't make any sense for him because he's successful now.
Yep.
You know, but
Well, I feel
really
like that's
quickly
just people
here,
just projecting their
of
will kind of
course,
thing too.
of,
So,
of course, and he's a young guy, so I get it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe after the season, depending on what happens with the brand and the Browns, if Stefanski goes to college, I could see something like that. But really quickly, some extensions. Wake Forest signs Dave Clawson to a long-term extension.
yep,
That was
10
a
years,
couple of
right?
days ago for Wake Forest. I know it doesn't show me here. Let me go back to it. Let's see. I
Okay.
know a couple people got. I know a couple people got some 10 years
There's a few people
extensions.
that got
Boy.
some 10-year extensions. Yeah.
Um, so while that pulls up here, okay, I don't know what this website is doing. We're just going to forget that. We'll just say a long-term extension for Mr. Clausen here. I did see, which was kind of weird, and you let me know what you think. I know that there was talk that James Franklin would be out at Penn State, and then all of a sudden
He
he
got
gets the
the
10-year
extension.
extension.
Yep.
So that was pretty crazy.
I feel like
Uh,
that was people overreacting because they
mm,
were the number 4 team in the nation at the time,
mhm,
and their QB got injured, and then they went on a sort of a losing streak.
right.
So
And Michigan.
I didn't believe that hype. I felt like that was just people overreacting, giving him way too much heat. And of course, just regular Penn State haters because of the whole he who must not be named scenario,
Oh yeah.
because that's still
Which
kind
I
of
think he's done a good
lingers.
job taking over for, that name, unnamed person.
Exactly. So no, I didn't believe
But
that hype.
lastly here, I do see that
He
Michigan's,
does a great job with the team.
yeah, he does that. And they've lost some pieces. He had to go through the sanctions and all that other stuff. So I thought they did a pretty good job. Michigan State has agreed to a 10-year contract extension with Mel Tucker, also $95 million. So it seems like the 10-year plan is just one of those things that, they're just handing out 10-year contracts these days. You get 10
Also, in
years.
other news too, and I didn't know if you saw this too, but Duke fired their head coach of their football team.
See, I didn't think he fired. I just think that he wasn't gonna come back. That's what I'm saying. That's why uh, it was kind of misleading because I was like, he was pretty successful. So like some of it says mutually parted ways, of course. Some people said
I believe the
fired.
first
Some
was
people said that he
firing.
just would not return for his 15th
Exactly,
season.
exactly.
Um, and I don't know because I mean, although they went 3-9, I think last season, they had a much better year. So I don't blame them for moving on. It's gonna be interesting to see who they bring in.
Hmm.
Hey, maybe Doc Leesner gets the nod.
You're right there. You're pretty close.
I am pretty close. I'm like right around the corner. Actually, I could just take a
Hey,
quick jog
Duke,
there if necessary.
Duke. This is Professor John Gotti talking.
But Johnny,
I know you don't know me,
I know the people heard this
but I
podcast on
know.
their
Wait,
favorite
wait.
podcast platform. But if they didn't,
I know you don't know me, but Doc Elidolo should be your next head coach for your football team. Boom. I just said it. Let's go.
boom. I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always go to the website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over the Monday night showdown between the Seahawks and the football team, as well as give you the news, the analysis, and the reads.